Welcome back, my legends, and today I have something very special. Now, a lot of people that have played Titanfall 2 know who the original Apex Predators are, and unfortunately one of the things about Titanfall 2 is that we never really got to learn a lot about them. I mean, yeah, we learned some things here and there, but not about their past or history. So as much as I like these characters, I wanted to know more about them. What made them join the Apex Predators? What was their history? What happened to them that made them like this? But unfortunately we never got those answers. But recently in the Season 5 quest, we see that Ash actually made a return, and in Season 6 quest, we actually got Cuban Blisk. Now, I have a feeling that the writers are going to secretly try to connect the Apex Predators with the Apex Legends. In fact, we can already see that with Cuban Blisk. Cuban Blisk, for some reason, is keeping an eye on Rampart. He just so happened to be at her shop when Big Sister attacked her. That is no coincidence. I have a feeling that Cuban Blisk and Rampart have some connection. Also, you can see in her shop that there's Viper's Titan. Now, what I think they're going to do is they're going to finally do the Apex Predators, the OGs, justice, and finally give us their backstory of who they were. And we're going to start this by talking about Kane. Now, Kane is the very first Predator that we face in Titanfall 2. After you link up with BT, what you do is you go to rendezvous with Captain Anderson to complete the mission. When BT and Cooper are going there to rendezvous, they ended up in this facility that was under the control of Kane. That was some kind of water treatment facility where militia forces were fighting IMC. While you're fighting the IMC in this water sewer treatment facility, you get to hear Kane talk for the first time, and he sounds somebody that's very unstable.
Listen up. This is Kane. What we have here, my IMC and militia friends, is a failure to communicate. And that's okay. That's okay. That's all good.
And that's when BT finally tells us who Kane really is and what he is known for.
Who was that?
Accessing files. Kane, a mercenary commonly affiliated with the Apex Predators, a well-known narcotics user and supplier.
So as you heard, Kane is a narcotics dealer and some form of abuser. Kane is known as some kind of violent person, even towards his own men, and a lot of his men think that he's just high on something.
What's up with Kane? It's gonna be hooked up on something.
Kane, come in. There's a Vanguard class Titan in the facility. I think it's SO.
If you can't handle the job, I will. Just leave it to good old Kane to clean up your mess. I am dead weight.
Now, very interesting, there's been a lot of theories saying that, hey, Kane could be addictive to the stims like the ones that Octane uses. And the reason people are saying that is because it's the only drug that we know that's highly addictive. It is possible it could be something else, but for Kane, it'll fit his character perfectly, and I'll explain later. So after BT and Cooper basically go around the facility destroying every IMC forces, Kane does a Thanos moment, is like, fine, I'll do it myself. So Kane decides to fight BT and Cooper, and Kane actually gets excited because he's fighting somebody that has a Vanguard Titan. Now, for those of you who don't know the Vanguard Titans, it's apparently some kind of rare Titan that only a very few pilots have.
Vanguard class Titan. These things are rare. We should sell it. No bloody way. Those weren't Blisk's orders.
So when he sees he's facing a Vanguard Titan, anybody would have been very cautious saying that, hey, this guy is serious, but not Kane. Kane was actually excited that he can finally fight somebody that's probably in his own level or maybe even better than him.
You were not invited to Kane's party, and that's why you're dead. Well, another runaway hero with an SRS Vanguard class Titan. Woo! Now we're talking.
So as you can see, Kane is very reckless and somebody who's not really a patient person and just goes with the flow. Wonder who that reminds me of. But point is that BT and Cooper beat Kane and they're able to get his helmet and were able to spy on the Apex Predators because of that. And that's about it. That's all we kind of know about Kane. He's somebody who might have had some kind of drug addiction and was verbally abusive towards anybody that was around him, and his favorite word to use was the word scrub. And other than that, we really don't know much about Kane. That's pretty much all we know about him. Now, people have said that his scars and damaged eye were likely the result of drug abuse and some kind of, you know, drug bust gone wrong. But that's about it. There's not much we know about Kane other than those facts. But this is where I'm going to start my theory and how Kane could connect to one of the Apex Legends and give us more details about his backstory. Now, the person I'm talking about is Octane. Octane and Kane are very similar. They both have some kind of abuse problem that they don't want to mention or address. Both of them could be very reckless. In the form of Octane, he blew off his own legs with a grenade so that way he can beat the world record. Kane, a person who defeated a lot of militia pilots, probably underestimated Cooper even though he had a Vanguard Titan. He should have been more cautious and probably even called for backup or the other predators for help. Now, I know what you're wondering, Kevin, how are you going to connect these two characters together? Well, here's the thing. We now know is that Octane's dad actually produced the stims, meaning that he had a connection with the IMC because the IMC needed stims for their stim pilot simulacras. So how could this connect to Kane? Well, Kane is a narcotics dealer, so to me, it wouldn't be a surprise or a stretch to say that maybe Octane's dad was giving him the stims to sell on the black market or even selling it to the militia. Now, some of you are going to say, Kevin, how will he sell the militia, the very enemy the IMC is fighting, stims? Well, you got to remember this. Not everybody in the militia were good people because it says right here that, yeah, they had to take on anybody they could find to fight the IMC, including pirates and actual terrorists. So it wouldn't be surprising if some of the militia were actually very shady and actually made deals with Kane that, yeah, they'll buy those stims off of him and then they will go on and sell them to make a profit. So not everybody in the militia were good people, just like how Bangalore says that, hey, not everybody in the IMC were bad people. This is what I want to see from Kane. I want Kane to have a connection with Octane's dad in some way, shape, or form. And at the same time, I also want Kane to have a connection via Octane. I want it to turn out that Octane's butterfly knife was actually Kane's to begin with, but when Kane died, I like to think that Octane's dad got it and he kept it as a memory of Kane. And then one day I like to think that maybe Octane found it or stole it, and this is where his addiction to the stim started. I'd like to think that Octane's dad later found out about this and they gave him this filter thing on his side of his knees to filter out his blood, but by the time they found out Octane had been using the stim, it was too late and he had a problem where he wanted to use the stims more and more because he actually liked it and made him feel alive inside. And yeah, I think this is how they could connect Kane with Octane. Honestly, this is a perfect fit. Kane is obviously somebody who had problems and it's very obvious that Octane also has problems. So this is my theory, my legends. My theory is that Kane became a worker for Octane's dad, and by making people addicted to his pharmaceutical drugs, they'll want more and more and more to maximize his profits in an endless scale of addiction. And in an ironic way, in the end, it turns out that his son, Octane, Octavio Silva, became an addict. And yeah, my legends, that's all I'm going to say about this theory. Let me know what you think. Hopefully they do something similar to mine where they do connect Kane and Octane. And yeah, I'll see you all next time. Peace.
I'll keep on repenting for that night so long ago. That your hands disappear, I'll still find the place where you